So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a controversial video. This says the situation in Gaza is extremely serious, and it looks like it will only get more serious from here, as we're getting in the news right now that Donald Trump allegedly greenlit the Israelis permanently occupying major portions of Gaza. All of this, as Joe Rogan has some very unique criticisms to offer this current administration, as of course we have Charlie Kirk coming out and defying the President of the United States, who talked about the severity of the situation, as there are even people who are being kicked out of AIPAC for having too much of a radical take on this entire situation. This, as MTG just came out and said it, a situation that, of course, deserves to be talked about, in my opinion. And if you agree, share this video, subscribe, click the notification button, as, of course, there are a lot of important things to get into when it comes to this particular matter, a matter that, of course, is muddied with not just censorship, but attacks from individuals who, of course, want to talk about it in an earnest, honest way. And, of course, there's a lot of people muddying the waters with just pure hatred, pure racism. You're not going to find that here on this particular channel. And just wanted to say that we appreciate all of your attention and patience to this particularly crazy, wild matter that will only get wilder from here. This, as, of course, there are now multiple organizations talking about how there is a very serious issue in Gaza that is leading people to die from starvation. This, as Israel continues to have a blockade since March of 2025, not allowing aid into Gaza. This, as some aid recently has been delivered, as you could see in the making of this particular video, as Israeli officials, as well as Charlie Kirk, are denying that there's a famine and blaming Hamas for alleged theft and UN mismanagement. As evidence, or pretty much as Grok states here, evidence is showing us that the restrictions, locking people in a specific territory, not allowing anything in and out, that's pretty much why the famine is being caused here, not some runaround type of excuse here of, oopsie daisy, someone was selling it somewhere, allegedly. All of this, as of course there are content creators that clearly have a very big bias, individuals like Laura Loomer, that recently were trying to place the Palestinian movement in yet another violent attack, allegedly claiming that the lunatic in New York City a couple hours ago that took out people on the 33rd floor of a very heavily guarded building in Manhattan was somehow screaming Free Palestine. As of course those reports have not been verified, and it looks like a lot of those reports were wrong. As right now, Donald Trump is even coming out, and during his talks with the UK Prime Minister, a UK Prime Minister that, by the way, just declared some interesting declarations about the state of Palestine, which he officially recognized, but Donald Trump acknowledged, hey, there's some real starvation in Gaza, and he specifically sent out a message to Israel saying, hey, can you let in every ounce of food, please, because these images are absolutely horrible here. As even Congresswoman MTG, and again, there's a lot of more awful video footage. We're not going to show you that. It's just, horrifying. It's horrifying to discuss. There's some fake videos going out there, but a lot of the stuff that is being independently verified is just tragic. It's just awful. As MTG became the first Republican member of Congress to describe the situation in Gaza as a genocide perpetrated by Israel. Here now enters Charlie Kirk, that disagrees with her and tells her, no, it's not Israel that's starving Gazans. That's not happening here.
Weekend, there was an all-out propaganda campaign trying to make it seem as if Israel is intentionally starving the people of Gaza.
Well, Israel is blocking people from Gaza, as well as aid, as well as any type of movement of any kind of objects, including food, in or out of the territory, as they launch a constant state of war on it and its infrastructure, preventing people from being able to produce their own food. I don't think there's that's propaganda. He started off talking about, the media lies. They lied to us about the coup. And I'm like, really? Okay, that's not a good parallel to make here.
I hate being lied to, especially by the media networks. They lied to us about COVID. They lied to us about the vaccines. They lied to us about open borders. They lied to us Hunter Biden laptop. Joining us now is Rabbi Wilicki, a great friend, and thank you so much for defending me the other day. Rabbi Wilicki.
Yes, let's bring in the rabbi here to give us a fair perspective of what's going on here, as I thought the takes were just absolutely ridiculous. The comments here are pretty one-sided, to be kind of fair here. And before reading off those comments and talking about some other people that are just kicked out of AIPAC and their support network, before talking about the plan that's now kind of moving forward with Donald Trump, who allegedly greenlit an annexation of Gaza. Before talking about that, we wanted to tell you about thebestpoliticalshirts.com. I was just with some friends and family members. One of them has a little baby, and I'm like, the shirt that I'm wearing right now, it says anti-government, pro-boob. She was feeding the baby her, bazonga milk, and I'm like, this is a perfect shirt. I'm going to make sure that there's going to be a baby version of this shirt. We're working on it right now. but that's the shirt that I was wearing today. A lot of Polish people speak English, and and then they start laughing. So I've been meeting a lot of people here, and they definitely have a sense of humor here. And I would say I think we have by far the funniest T-shirt store on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. I mean, where else can you get shirts like this that talk about women's sports? Where else can you get shirts like this that talk about how America is run on blackmail, available in black and white? Where else can you get multiple shorts that, of course, perfectly express your very radical political opinions in the most funny, comedic, meme type of ways that allow you to do lazy forms of activism, but also, more importantly, get to know and meet other people in the real world that you get to have connections with because of the shirts that you get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Where else could you get a massive Meat Rocket 2028 T-shirt with Big Mike? Where else can you get that? Where else? Can you tell me? Again, all of it right here. All of it came from this crazy, traumatized mind. Thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Support us, support yourself, live free, speak your truth. Again, a lot of people are too afraid to speak their truth here. A lot of people cower. A lot of people are just kind of slaves to the system that they serve, and they're too afraid to, of course, ever stand up for themselves and ever bite the hand that feeds them. And a totally unrelated note, let's read some of these Charlie Kirk comments here. As Lauren Witzker says, they are starving children, Charlie. You are using your platform to cover up the taking out of children. That's your legacy here, as that's what she wrote. Blair White wrote, Israel could clear it up really quickly if they allowed independent media in. Why won't they do that? Morgan Aureli says, you are a child of the devil. It's also interesting to note here that South Park is going to be portraying Charlie Kirk tomorrow. That's going to be interesting. Crystal Ball here says, disgusting lies here. Even Israeli military officials said Hamas was never stealing aid. This is a deliberate starvation policy which was announced and enforced by the Israelis with U.S. backing. Even Bibi Netanyahu tweets are being put up here, and again, a lot of people are saying a lot of very harsh things against Charlie. We have Cassandra McDonald here, a friend of mine, saying those donor bucks are blood-soaked. Dr. Simon Goodek, hey Charlie, The whole world sees this vile traitor you truly are. The internet never forgets, and you will never recover from this here, as a lot of people are also sharing a lot of not really endearing messages here, as of course Charlie is saying, no one's starving here, as we have a member of the U.S. Congress literally saying, starve them all. Randy Fine was literally saying, they're not going to free the hostages, starve them. Good. 2 million people, lots of children, as now AIPAC is even moving away and disassociating themselves from Randy Fine because of how aggressive he was with this entire matter, as his extreme comments are even too much for AIPAC to handle. As it's pretty clear here, this guy is a little bit unhinged here, as he literally talked about the need to nuke Gaza.
We nuked the Japanese twice in order to get unconditional surrender. That needs to be the same here. There is something deeply, deeply wrong with this culture, and it needs to be defeated. We heard.
Yeah, that is a little bit of a wild take there, since there's so many civilians living there. And again, there's women and children. Say what you may about the men, and again, I think lumping people in with their government, whether they support the government or not, is a little bit ridiculous. I mean, right now, if we were invaded, right, let's just say we were invaded a couple of months ago. We had people coming in saying, no, you're responsible for everything Joe Biden did. What? Now they're saying, no, you're responsible for everything Donald Trump did. What? No, I'm not. I'm my own individual person. Like, I just want to live my life here. Clearly, the conflict has had a toll on people's psyche. Clearly, being kind of imprisoned in one particular area and then being denied food makes you a little angry, okay? You got hangry before, right? Now, does that hangriness justify things like October 7th? No, absolutely not. Violence only begets more violence, and we have to understand here that what is happening here is a major escalation that is only going to lead to more of it. As, of course, we have members of our government, like U.S. Senator Tom Cotton, coming out and saying, hey, I'm not even going to argue if they're starving or not. Yeah, Israel has no responsibility to provide any of the aid here. They're the ones imprisoning people in a specific territory. And then they're like, yeah, you know what? They don't have to give any aid here. As Donald Trump and the UK government are pledging aid here, as Donald Trump has essentially allowed the Israelis to do whatever they want under his political leadership, and he has acted on their behalf in more ways than one to the detriment of the American military, our defensive capabilities, and our reputation on the world, especially when it comes to the very kind of destroyed relationships that we have internationally, the lies, the actions that Donald Trump took, the disinformation campaign that now, in my opinion, has led to this kind of devolving of situations with Russia and Ukraine. As Glenn Greenwald highlighted this clip from Joe Rogan, highlighting the domestic policy inside of the United States, as of course many people who legally apply to be U.S. citizens, fill out the proper paperwork, do everything that they're supposed to be told to do, follow the proper procedures, and are trying to become legal immigrants now, are now being vetted for having political opinions that might be a little bit critical of the Israeli government. As now, Glenn Greenwald said, listen to Joe Rogan on the sinister insanity of punishing, arresting, and even deporting students at American universities for the crime of writing op-eds critical of Israel.
And then they're kicking students out that like write articles they don't like.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't a university supposed to be a place where someone's allowed to express themselves?
Right.
And you're supposed to hear multiple opinions and thoughts and expressions. Yeah. But guess what? You can't do that anymore. And most of these top universities that now have to pay out hundreds of millions of dollars will never allow any of those voices.
And have
non-violently.
Yeah. They're writing something down, and they're not calling for violence either. And they're getting challenged. And that's supposed to be how it happens. You get challenged, smarter people have better arguments, or your argument stands.
Right, discourse.
Yes.
It's supposed to be a place for discourse.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And you're deporting people because you don't like who they're criticizing? Like, that gets kind of shifty.
Yeah, to say the least here, as of course there are now multiple laws on the books here, multiple universities that Donald Trump has gone after by accusing them of being anti-Semitic, that I think are being done in a very strange way. As of course, if you're trying to become a citizen of America, you criticize America, you're fine. You criticize the Israeli government, you're deported, you're kicked out. Your legal application that you filled out correctly, that you followed all the steps for carefully and did everything you were told, is just thrown out. Really? That's what we're going to do here? As of course now, Netanyahu is proposing that the Israeli government just take parts of Gaza. As of course, Haaretz is writing that they are going to appease the far-right minister if Hamas does not agree to a deal. Under the proposed plan, Israel will gradually begin annexing parts of Gaza if Hamas does not agree to a ceasefire. Netanyahu told ministers the plan is supported by Donald Trump and his administration. This, as we're hearing news reports that in the next 48 hours, Israel is expected to make a critical decision. If Hamas refuses to release the hostages and surrender, Israel may move to officially and permanently annex parts of the Gaza Strip. In other words, take the land and never give it back here. This, as we're also hearing that the Israeli security minister is specifically saying enough. That's it. It's over. No negotiations. No hope whatsoever for negotiations. Go in full force. Maximum intensity, all in. Start occupying area after area, including the northern edge of the Strip and other areas as well. This, as there were many prominent Israeli officials within multiple Western governments recently working and trying to negotiate a deal where they will deport the Palestinians to other parts of the world here. That's already at play here, as of course it looks like there's a possibility of a two-state solution here, as right now Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt have actually signed off on a statement calling for Hamas to disarm and end its rule in Gaza. As of course, we have people here describing how in the context of ending the war in Gaza, Hamas must end its rule in Gaza and hand over its weapons. Now, will that happen here? Will there be a two-state solution that actually is determined and decided? As of course, it won't be a kind of two-state, it'll be a proxy state of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt that will be represented by the Palestinian people. That probably, I think the Palestinian people understand, hey, these are kind of Muslim countries, but these Muslim countries haven't really done anything for us. And they're probably going to cut out a deal later, and they're probably going to deport us and occupy our land anyway. As of course, that's probably the end game here, as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom actually announced that the UK will recognize the Palestinian state by the United Nations meeting in September, unless, quote, Israel agrees to a ceasefire, as the Europeans have been at odds with Israel, as the Israelis have announced that they are rejecting the statement by the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom here. Now, the UK also is passing some very kind of draconian, very weird kind of online censorship rules and laws, so we're kind of stuck in this weird place where it's just a very kind of weird situation where we're all kind of involved in here with this type of Western alliance that by the way, NATO, along with countries and military hardware from the UK, from Germany, were actively helping, aiding, and abetting Israel when it came to their attack against the Iranians. An attack that could be sparked up at any moment, at any time, and hopefully it doesn't. We'll see how this scenario kind of unfolds here. I give it about 2 years, to be quite honest with you. But right now, a lot of questions are being asked with a lot of the kind of influence games that are being played right now. Donald Trump is saying one thing, and you have Charlie Kirk contradicting him. I understand MTG here, but Charlie Kirk contradicting the President of the United States here? How un-American. And a lot of people have very, very strong opinions on this particular matter. A lot of emotions are definitely getting the best of people. And it's pretty clear here that one side has a big advantage. There's a big aggressor here, and a lot of people are telling that aggressor, "Hey, can you calm down a little bit? Can you stop starving people?" Aid has been delivered, but but will it continue to be delivered? As, of course, the denial of aid was mainly used as a negotiation leverage, saying, look, we're going to starve you. Break right now. Hand over all of your weapons. Step down as a government, or we're going to starve you to death. Clearly, that didn't work. Now, will it work for the Palestinian people to say, yeah, we're going to just hand over all of our weapons, and we're going to let Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt rule over us? They're going to be like, no. It's pretty clear that that's not going to happen here, because it didn't happen with the extremes of starvation. Will it happen now? Listen, who knows? But for me, all signs for now point to no. Now, will the situation change once the Israelis start coming in and occupying territory? And the Gazans are like, well, now they're just taking all of our land and territory. Do we just give up Hamas now? Listen, I don't think they even will do that then. I think there's a lot of people that are Palestinians that are sympathetic of this terrorist organization. Now, hopefully, cooler heads prevail. Hopefully, it doesn't come to this. But I think Israel knows that with the Donald Trump presidency, they get to do whatever they want. And they get full support by Donald Trump, no matter what. Which some people say might be related to the Epstein saga. I don't know if it is. I don't know if it isn't. Regardless, how do you think this situation will unfold? And let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you, everyone, for getting a T-shirt, expressing yourself, living life to the fullest, and being like, this is who the hell I am. And it really does mean a lot to have your support during these very key, crucial, difficult times. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys buying the shirts, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.